Hello, beautiful people. Today is 5th of September. My name is Sahil and welcome to the newspaper analysis. Friends, today is the birth anniversary of Dr. Sarvapalli Sri Radhakrishnan, the philosopher, educationist, and the former president of India, in whose remembrance we celebrate 5th of September as the Teachers' Day. Guys, today I want to extend my heartfelt gratitude to all the teachers who imbibe education in us, to all my teachers who had made me that I am able to tell you some words of wisdom. Now, guys, today I will be taking a quote from the teachings of the Dr. Sarvapalli Radhakrishnan. He had talked about the role education plays in bridging the cultural gap. He says, books are the means by which we build bridges between cultures. Now, guys, here books resembles the education and the bridge resembles the tolerance. So it has been said that education intrinsically has an element to imbibe the tolerance into the people, and the more educated the people of a nation will be, the more tolerance will be reflected into their behavior. Friends, here I would like to differentiate between the two words education and literacy. Never by education I mean literacy, because you had seen that into the bid of the changes which are coming, we are going towards more of literacy, but education is still a far distant dream, and to fulfill that dream we need the teachers which can bring the qualitative change into the thinking, into the outlook of the people, so that we can rise to the greatness which has been written into the preamble of Indian Constitution. So guys, that's all. Please utilize this particular quote onto the topics related to the harmony, topics related to the education and the role education plays into the enhancement of the humanity. So guys, that's all. And now let's take the newspaper analysis.
Now guys, first of all, let's take the overview of the entire newspaper first. Now here we can see that the defense minister is into the Russia with respect to the SCO meet. Now guys, this particular meet is actually the combined meet of three organizations, so in that particular respect we'll see issues. Then guys, here we can see that Supreme Court has rejected the plea by the 6 states with respect to the cancellation of the JEE main exam as well as the NEET exam. So friends, just a one-liner concept, you keep in mind that it is also emerging to be a new irritant into the center-state relations. Then guys, India had reached the 4 million marks, not important but a point to worry. You can see that the graphs of nearly all the nations have declined, but India's graph is just rising up and up. Then friends, the into the city section only the regional news with respect to the COVID etc has been given, not important for our exam. So guys, now we directly reach to the editorial page, and here we can see that this particular editorial talks about the parliament's accountability. We'll read this with respect to GS2. Then this article talks about the militarization of Quad. Then this particular article talks about the ban which India has imposed. So guys, on that particular respect we'll see the issues. Then this particular article talks about the Mother Teresa and a personalistic account of Naveen B Chawla, the former chief election commissioner of India. However guys, with respect to UPSC, not important for our paper. Then friends, this is a ground zero report with respect to the death of the Sushant Singh Rajput, not at all important for our paper. Then guys, moving forward, here we can see that the railway is considering with respect to the decriminalization of beggary. So in that respect, we'll see all the issues. Then guys, here we can see that an oil tanker of the coast of Sri Lanka had caught into the fire. So guys, it could be an environmental disaster if this particular ship blast and an oil spill is it caused into the region. Then guys, here we can see that the Prime Minister has said that women police officers can play an important role into the Jammu and Kashmir, as they can bring the children and people onto the right path. So it has been said that the Prime Minister that the women police officers have particular that persuading kind of quality. So he was addressing the a batch of IPS officers into the Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel National Police Academy. However guys, just as a one liner you can utilize if a question comes on to the how women can play a role into the social change makers. Then guys, here we can see that the Kaziranga National Park will be extended. So just guys, please keep in mind that it is in Assam and it is famous for the animals such as the rhino, tiger and deer. So guys, the park will be extended and the region of the Nagaon and Sonitpur will be added. So guys, just that's it. Then moving forward, so into the showcase page, not important for our exam. Then onto the world page, you can see that the COVID etc going on, not important here guys. We can see that the imposition of the national security law in Hong Kong has been questioned by the UN. It has been said that people's fundamental right will be violated here. Then guys, onto the business page, here we can see that the RBI had changed the priority sector lending norms. So in that particular respect, we'll see the issues. Then guys, onto the sports page, nothing important for our exam has been given. So that's it. And now let's take the newspaper analysis in detail.
Now, friends, taking up the first news. So, this particular news pertains to the SEO meet which is going on right now in Russia. So, right now, guys, this particular meet is important because here it is a combined meet of three treaties or three organizations, that is the SEO, the Commonwealth of Independent States, and the CSTO, that is the Collective Security Treaty Organization. Now guys, the foreign ministry as well as foreign minister as well as the defense minister has both gathered together, and there the representatives of the respective states are coming. There a bilateral meet between the Indian foreign defense minister and his Chinese counterpart has happened, where it has been resolved that the matters which are escalating onto the LAC sector, those matters will be resolved amicably. However, guys, the concrete information from this particular deal or from this particular meet has not came out till now. So we can't further comment on that particular thing. However, with respect to our exam, what is important? These three organizations, who are their members and what is basically these organizations are propagating about. Because in last 3-4 years, every year question onto the organization has been asked, and now this year the combined meet of these organization is there, so it becomes even more important. Now, first of all, the primary meet is of the SCO, that is the Shanghai Cooperation Organization. Now, this particular organization was formed in 2001 as a Eurasian Union which will aim to preserve the political, economic and security interest of the members. Now guys, originally there were the members, that is the China, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Russia and Tajikistan. Then later words Uzbekistan joined, and now the India and Pakistan are also the member of the SCO. Guys, please remember that here within the Central Asia only one country is not member, that is the Turkmenistan. So please keep that in your mind, otherwise you'll get confused. Then the other organization whose combined meet is happening here, that is the Commonwealth of Independent States. Now guys, this particular organization was made into the aftermath of collapse of the USSR in 1991, so that the economic, political and military kind of dialogues and kind of cooperation can go between these states. Now there are 9 members, okay, and the 9 members of the organizations are the Armenia, Azerbaijan, Belarus, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Moldova, Russia, Tajikistan and Uzbekistan. Guys, please do remember their names. Then the next one is the CSTO, that is the Collective Security Treaty Organization. Now guys, this particular alliance is specifically a military alliance which was established by the Tashkent Pact. Now, it aims to preserve the security interest of the members, and here the members are Armenia, Belarus, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Russia and Tajikistan. Now guys, what is more important than remembering their members individually? It is more important to see that who are the countries which are member of all of them. So there are 4 countries which are member of all, that is the Russia, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan and Tajikistan. Please do remember these 4 names at least. Okay guys, so that's all what has happened here, and now it is basically the limelight, the central issue which is here is the escalating tensions between the India and China, and on that particular thing talks are going on. So that's it. Now we'll move to the next article. Now guys, this particular article talks about the parliament which is now it will be convening. So there are certain challenges which are there into the front of parliament, and as we had seen into the earlier article that now the question hour is being removed for this particular session, so that particular thing will also pose certain implications. So friends, in our GS paper number 2 there is the topic of functioning of parliament. So here we'll see the functioning of parliament during the times of pandemic. Now guys, some basics. First of all, we know that India is a representative parliamentary democracy. Now how this democracy works? There are the people elects a legislature. Within the legislature we make an executive. Okay, legislature will make the law, executive will execute or will implement the law. Now through various devices, for example question hour, through raising the matters of urgent public importance, the legislature constantly it keeps executive under the check. So executive holds an accountability to the legislature, and legislature at the end of the day holds accountability to the people, because during the time of the election that accountability will be addressed. So this particular cycle goes on continuously. Then there is the judiciary also. Judiciary keeps an eye that everything is being followed by the due process of law. So this is the way our democracy works. But now what has happened? We had seen that the question hour has been curtailed. Then the 0 hour is also being it is also being truncated. Fine. So what is happening? The accountability is being broken. Now guys, here when I talk about accountability, if I give you the example of UK had shown great accountability from the executive. Here we will take certain example. First example I will take from the issue of a contact tracing. Now, when the pandemic was expanding at that point of time, we know this particular thing that we have to isolate people, those people who have came into the person who might be the positive of COVID-19. So they into UK they convened a parliamentary committee, and parliamentary committee saw certain matters before going into that thing. First of all, is there a primary legislation by which we can make certain kind of app or certain kind of mechanism? Secondly, will it not be hampering the privacy of the citizens? Thirdly, what will be the time for which all such records of the people will be kept? Then how we will scrutinize that whether the executive or whether the people who are implementing this project, they are not overstepping the mandate that was given to them. And after giving up a lot of thought, the contact tracing issues were taken up. What happened in India? In India, we made the Arogya Setu, and in this Arogya Setu, there is large number of gray zones. First of all, what is happening with the data, for what time the data is being stored, for at what particular instances the data can be erased by a person if he wants. Okay, where the Arogya Setu is a compulsory, all such data, all such informations are there, but still nothing has been made clear on this particular thing. So we can see that onto this particular front, the accountability of executive is not there. Moreover, the responsibility to the nation has also not been shown very properly. Then guys, there are other issues also. Now, Parliament is meeting approximately after 175 days. Within these 175 days, more than 900 central notifications have been passed, and more than 6,000 state level notifications has been passed, and the time for the Parliament for which it will be meeting is less than 20 days. So in these 20 days, how it will scrutinize that whether all such kind of measures have been taken with the constitutional into the spirit of the constitution or not. Moreover, during this particular time, the parliamentary standing committees were functioning, but they were made to function into the physical format, and it posed a limitation onto them because a large number of members were not able to participate because of the transport restrictions, social distancing norms, all such kind of thing. So during these 175 days, we took so much of kind of actions. And here, if I again give you the example of UK, UK used the technology. Their parliamentary standing committees functioned through the virtual medium so that attendance into the largest of the largest number can be taken. But in India, during this particular thing, nothing happened, and now the kind of this particular meet, it is just a kind of a post-mortem analysis of whatever has happened, and even that thing will not happen because the time is very much less. Then guys, after that, what has happened, we had seen that on various occasions the court has intervened. How court has intervened? For example, the migrant issue was taken care by the court gave much kind of basically directions to the center. Then just a few days back, if you remember, I had discussed the telecom issue, AGR issue, where the Supreme Court has said that within 10 years money has to be paid by telecom to the government. Now here, if you remember, I told you that the central government was of opinion that 20 years of time should be given, but court insisted on 10 years. Now, constitutionally, it is not mandated. Court cannot overstep the executive or the legislature, but here it has happened. And why it is happening? Because the parliament is sub-functional. So such kind of crises are also coming and nobody is talking about it. Then the next issue, that now as the parliament is meeting, first of all, that short the sessions, the duration is very short. I told you less than 20 days time is there. Then guys, what has happened, there are the same premises in which the meeting of the Lok Sabha will happen, and after the Lok Sabha's meeting will be there, the Rajya Sabha's meeting will be happening. So into the same premises, it reduces the scope of the extended meetings if such urgent public important matter is raised, because we have to vacate the space. Therefore, now moreover guys, 11 ordinances, most crucial 11 ordinances have been passed, which pertains to issues such as the lockdown, moratorium onto the bank loan, agriculture, are kind of ordinances with respect to the RBI. Now into such limited all the kind of scopes, limited session duration, limited timing, how such kind of things will be taken care of, and ultimately we had seen that again the accountability will be subverted. So guys, this is a political implication which the pandemic has brought onto the democracies around the world. But the democracies which had adopted the technology are not facing that problem to such a grave extent, but India is facing. So in GS paper number 2, if a question comes, please raise these matters. So that's all about this particular article. Now we'll move to the next article. Now guys, this particular article talks about the Quad. Now in our GS paper number 2, there is a topic of the international groupings. Now there we can utilize this topic. Now what has happened? First of all, I give you some background. See, the Quad was a kind of a military, it is a kind of an agreement which aimed on bringing the economic, security, political cooperation between the members. So this particular project was the dream of the Shinzo Abe, the longest serving Japanese prime minister, which retired a few days back. And because of this particular thing also, the Quad becomes very important this year. So Quad is a alliance or is a kind of a grouping between 4 countries, that is the India, US, Japan and Australia. So these are the 4 countries which are under the Quad. Originally it was formed in 2007. But for next 10 years, that is up to 2017, there was no active engagement into the Quad or the quadrilateral security dialogue. Why? Because guys, at that point of time certain changes occurred. Number one, this was the time, this 2007, Shinzo Abe came for a very brief period of time and he was replaced. Okay, then what happened in Australia? A pro-China leader came, and because of that particular thing, now the Quad's orientation is towards the China, against the China. It was even said by the Shinzo Abe that we want to make an arc of democracy. Obviously, arc of democracy, it means a anti-China coalition, that was stated. And in Australia, as a pro-Chinese leadership came, Australia was also not that much ready. Then guys, basically the US, if you remember, 2008-9 was a time when the recession came in US, so US was also not that much very inclined. However, post 2017 the things were more favorable, that because everybody, see, in Australia at this point of time was frustrated by the China, because China's attitude with respect to the Australian imports and the exports which are being made to China, the students of China studying into the Australia, that thing has not been very favorable. This was also the time that USA was antagonized by the China's rise. Moreover, India, we are always antagonized by China. So this was the time that post 2017 Quad gained some significance. Fine. So that Quad was going on. Now guys, along with Quad, there is also the Malabar military exercise that is going on between three countries. Now these three countries are the India, Japan, as well as US. Now what has happened, it was said by India that we want to invite Australia also to the Malabar. So when Australia will also come, again the four countries of Quad will be here, and as it is a military exercise, we say that rather what we are doing, we are militarizing the entire Quad. So that thing was there. It was very much into the news into the last 1 month. Then it was a little bit came down. Now what has happened, the Chief of Defense Staff General Bipin Rawat, he had again raised the matter and had said that the Quad is a desired mechanism to ensure the freedom of navigation of operations. Okay, so into the region of the Indo-Pacific. So again the militarization of Quad has been raised. Now guys, in this particular article, now we had to see that what are the concerns with respect to the militarization of Quad, what are the problems. Now first of all, when we talk about the militarization, it shows that India's attitude is now changing. India has always been propagator of peace and had refrained in making such kind of comments at the public platform. So first of all, it shows that India's interests are now changing with respect to the geopolitical realities. Now guys, moreover, it has a certain other issues. First of all, we are talking about a naval military exercise, but India has not far convened the such massive operations anywhere outside the Indian Ocean, and therefore India's capabilities in this particular thing has not been tested till now, and making such kind of lofty claims might be little bit not desired right now. So reason number one. Then guys, the next thing is that we are talking about the Quad being a kind of a instrument right now, but till now, even if I tell you, Australia has not been formally included into the Malabar. So formal Quads, that particular that blueprint which we are assuming had not finalized. Then guys, the third issue is that what has happened in 2018, the Indian Prime Minister had clearly made an assertion that we see Indo-Pacific as a geographical concept and not a strategic theater. Geographical concept, we just see that particular thing as a region which is a kind of a sea lane for the major shipments going on. We don't say that there are some conflicting claims or some kind of hegemony or some kind of dominance or some kind of cloud has to be maintained. We don't follow that. We leave that thing. This thing has been said, and now as we are talking about Quad, it is that we are indicating that yes, Indo-Pacific is a strategic theater. So this particular it shows that Indian leadership is not clear that what foreign policy it wants to adopt. However, this particular thing can be counter challenged also. It can be counter challenged that since 2018 to 2020 the geostrategic positions has been changed and foreign policy is never a static concept. However, that point has not been given into the article, although, but please keep that in your mind. Then guys, next is that India shares the land border with China, and if you'll see the Quad, four countries, none of them shares a land boundary with China. So for them, to have a drill into the waters makes a sense, because if their war will happen, it will only be into the water. But if India will face the problem that, then most probably it will be onto the land frontiers. So how India will gain from the Quad, that is also a matter. And then guys, finally, just a few days back, many a times we had repeated the word strategic autonomy, which has been said by S. Jaishankar as the foreign policy into the present times. We had said that we will not be going into any groupings. We will be just be taking sides onto the case by case matter. But here we are going into a military grouping. We are going into a commitment. So where the strategic autonomy went? So guys, these are certain issues or the matters which have been raised into this particular regard. So that's all about these particular things. And guys, from the genesis of the Quad up till this point, all I have told you, please keep in your mind if a probable question on this line comes in GS paper number 2. Fine. So that's all about this particular article. And now we'll move to the next article. Now guys, this particular article talks about the ban onto the recent 118 apps that has been made by India. Now guys, in total, if we see, we have banned more than 200 Chinese apps. First of all, what we are doing, we are using a classic strategy where we are leveraging our market as our strategic plank. Now India has a market of 130 crore people, and if this market becomes important for any economic enterprise into the world, and as the entities which were the holders of that app, their economic interest will be subverted by banning, there could be a possibility that they will lobby into the China against the Chinese stand which they are having for the India at the LAC. So this is actually the main thinking line that Indian government is having. But there happens to be a concern also that in banning such kind of app, India will also make its own harm also. Now guys, we had said that onto the grounds that these apps are storing the data, are taking up the data and transferring that data to the servers not located in India. These apps are prejudicial to the sovereignty, defense and security of India, that has been said. But guys, still India is a democracy, China is not a democracy. India is doing all these things and it also undermining India's political or democratic ideals which India had upholded till this particular point of time. Now it has been said that India should have followed the due process of law under section 69A of the IT Act, where the apps have been blocked. Moreover guys, if you remember, just one day back, we had discussed this entire issue where I had talked that IT Act section 69A and as well as IT blocking of websites rule 2009 has been utilized here. And these basically regulations contain that if possible, before blocking, you should give them the opportunity that they should bring the compliance wherever they are faltering. But what we did not give them any opportunity. Moreover guys, Indians are also involved with some of these platforms and their economic interests are at the stake. And as you know that the condition of employment, condition of economic crisis is there, it is not good that some people who are earning their means, they are also being compromised. Then guys, further it has been said that rather going this way, we should have made the data protection law, and by the data protection law we should have safeguarded the interest of the people, or we should have safeguarded the privacy of the individual. Moreover guys, it has also been said that India often talks that we want to be the leader of the technology revolution that is coming, and by doing such kind of thing, it is not good for India as a technological leader. So guys, these are certain concerns which has been raised with this particular phenomena. So if you write, please utilize these points. So that's all about this particular article, and now we'll move to the next article. Now friends, here we can see that Indian Railways is considering the decriminalization of the begging. Now guys, this particular topic can be important for our GS paper number 1 social issues as well as GS paper number 2 social justice. Now before going into this particular article, I would like to give you some background as an individual question onto this particular line could be asked. Now first of all, whenever we talk about beggary, then there is no central legislation in this particular regard. There are different states and union territories which have made their own legislations against the for the criminalization of the begging. Now guys, the Bombay Prevention of Beggary Act 1959 is a kind of a model act which has been utilized by the different states and as well as union territories. Right now there are more than 20 such UTs and states which criminalize the begging. Now guys, whenever a person is charged of a begging, and whenever he is convicted of the begging, he is sent to the beggar home. Now the issue, first of all, what happens here, a kind of an issue is coming. Now the logic for giving a punishment, a physical punishment particularly to a person, depends on to the harm principle. It has been said that some harm needs to be conducted, either a mental harm or physical harm or psychological harm. But when a person is begging, he is not actually creating any harm. So large number of social scientists dispute that any harm is being created. Rather, it has been said that it is an inability of the state, that the state was not able to provide them the welfare, and because of that particular thing they are living into such poor conditions. So criminalizing it is not a solution. Rather, criminalizing a beggar is it is against the justice. So it has been said. Now guys, whenever we talk about beggary, there are the ethical and moral challenges, and because of this, the Delhi High Court in 2018 has decriminalized the begging as an act. First of all, it has said that it is a violative of article number 14. It has been said that when other people, singer, they are singing, they are dancing, and they are receiving crores and crores of rupees as a concert fees, then if a person is just dancing, singing onto the street, why you are punishing him? Fine. So this is a violation which has been given. Then guys, further it has been said that under article number 19, a person has freedom of speech and expression. Now when a person is asking is asking money, when or is begging, he is just communicating his poor condition and he is convincing the other person to give him some monetary alms. So therefore it is violative of that also. Moreover guys, in article number 21, it has been said that a person has a right to life, and not a life, a dignified life. It has been just reasoned that by asking some money, a person is trying to find an opportunity so that he can live a life where he can keep his soul and body together. So just he is trying to survive. So on to these particular things, you can't criminalize begging. So Delhi High Court has said need to decriminalize. Moreover, in 2019, the Jammu and Kashmir High Court also struck down the J&K law on beggary. So therefore the High Courts or the judiciary is not in favor. Then guys, if we come to the present article, then the railways has the Railway Act 1989, and into the Railway Act 1989 still the beggary has been written as a crime. So it has been said that such act will be modified, and from being a crime, just a kind of a prohibitory a provision will be made. We will just not allow the begging into the coaches. So it has been said that the criminalization will be removed in this particular regard. So guys, these are the matters which are related to this, and it happens to be an important sociological as well as a phenomena with respect to the welfare that state is giving. So you need to have some viewpoints on this. So that's all about this particular article, and now we'll move to the next article. Now guys, this particular article talks about the priority sector lending norms, which has been now updated by the Reserve Bank of India. Now in our GS paper number 3, with respect to the banking, this happens to be an important topic. Moreover, with respect to the prelims also, it is very important. Now what has happened? First of all, before going into the article, I will tell you about the priority sector lending norms which we are talking here. First of all guys, it has often been believed that there are certain sections of society which has a very dire need of money, but they often don't get the credit. Even there is a saying in for our banks, it has been said that banks provide you umbrella when it is not raining, and the moment it starts raining they withdraw the umbrella. So banks provide the money who don't actually need money. So therefore, the RBI has stipulated a condition onto the banks where it has been said that in every fiscal year, 40% of the total loan that bank is giving. For example, if a bank will give 100 rupees loan, then 40% of the loans should go for the priority sector lending. Now, what are these priority sector lending? There are certain categories of people who should get this 40% of the loan. Okay, then this A and B stand for the aggregated net bank credit. So whatever credit you are giving, 40% of the PSL needs to be given. So there are certain categories: agriculture, MSMEs, export credit, education, housing, social infrastructure, renewable energy, and the others, some miscellaneous, which time to time RBI tells. So these are the 8 sectors which should get 40% of the total loan. Now guys, some more things in this, for example, for important for your prelims. First of all, it has been said that 10% of the loan, out of this 40%, 10% of the loan should mandatorily go to the weaker sections. Now, who are the weaker sections? The disabled, the social, scheduled caste, scheduled tribes. These are the weaker sections. So and that thing needs to be done. Then guys, as we are talking about the agriculture, then it has been said that the agriculture sector should be given 18% of the loan. Out of this 18%, 8% mandatorily should be given only to the small and marginal farmers. So guys, these are some nitty-gritties with respect to the priority sector lending. Now, the RBI had made certain changes with respect to the PSL. Change number 1, it has been said that the startups are now also being brought into the definition of the priority sector lendings. 50 crore rupees worth of loan needs to be given to the startups. Number 1 change. Number 2, it has been said that farmers now need to be focused more, and there are certain sub-categorizations where the priority sector lending should be made. First of all, guys, it has been said that for the solar power plants, as well as for the compressed biogas plants, farmers should be given the loan. Now, if the farmers will install their own solar plants, they will not be using the conventional energy, and moreover, there is a kind of an obligation that we need to enhance the solar energy production in India. So in that particular thing, it will help. Then guys, it has been said that there are certain identified districts which have not received much of the credit into the past years. So those identified districts need now to be given more money. Then guys, the next thing is that it has been said that, as I told you, into the agriculture, small and marginal farmers, they are given a specific 8% of the loan. So it has been said that further into the phased manner, even more money will be diverted for the small marginal farmers as well as for the weaker sections. Is it clear? Then guys, it has been said that more focus needs to be given onto the farmer producer organizations or the farmer producer corporations. Now, FPOs and FPCs, these are the groupings which are actually helping farmers to market their agricultural produce, okay, so that they can get the better pricing. So FPOs as well as FPC should be given the funding. Then guys, it has been said that the money which was given to the renewable energy earlier, here you can see that the renewable energy has been mentioned. So the loan amount that was to be given, now it is being doubled. Okay, so now double money has to be given to the renewable sector. So these are the changes which have been made into the priority sector lending norms. So guys, please do keep it into your mind along with these 8 categories where the money goes. So guys, that's all about this particular article. I hope you have understood them all, and now we'll go to the question section.
Friends, please pause the video and try to answer the question. Question number 1 is with respect to the Global Innovation Index 2020. Please read the statement and identify that who releases it. Now guys, question number 2 is with respect to the Mission Karma Yogi. Please read the statement and identify the incorrect code. Question number 3 is with respect to the questionnaire. Please read the statement and identify the correct options. Now friends, question number 4 is with respect to the Sanjay Gandhi National Park. Please read the statement and identify the correct code. Now, today's mains question, it is from GS paper number 1 and it is a 10 marker question. It says that beggary is more of a social failure than an economic failure. Comment. So guys, please write it and try to provide some dimensions in this particular respect. So friends, that's all for today. I hope you are liking our discussion. Thank you so much.